Over the last decade, the global video game industry has increased massively in size, and no area is growing faster than free-to-play games. Such games use a variety of techniques to gain a profit, but most commonly, microtransactions. Unfortunately, the presence of these often predatory microtransactions in games may encourage an unhealthy relationship with spending money in games for the player. The reason that this is relevant to the industry is because improving public perception of microtransactions in video games may significantly improve the willingness of many users to buy them, hence improving profitability. A lower level of public association between video games and addictive behavior may also increase the likelihood of fresh players entering the hobby, who may otherwise be dissuaded by this. This would aid in supporting the industry through the increased sales of both games and microtransactions. One of the biggest problems with microtransactions is their ability to bypass consumer rights and give the issuing company a complete monopoly over the distribution. In Australia, the ACCC's guidelines on software purchases provide a 14-day limited refund window for games, but microtransactions bypass this completely. Because companies control the value of microtransactions, complete monopolies can be maintained, disallowing competition. An example of this is the 2012 military simulator DCS World by Eagle Dynamics. It's a free-to-play game, however almost all content is locked behind expensive DLC purchases. Due to the game's market dominance, DCS World expansions have skyrocketed in price, with the complete suite valued at over 6,000 Australian dollars, well beyond what is considered reasonable for microtransactions. Notably, modules include not just vehicles and maps, but basic functions like controlling land units, leading players to feel forced to buy more than they usually would without the safety net of a refund window. An unethical practice often used by companies is leftover premium currencies. Many games include a premium currency which acts as a middleman between a microtransaction and the purchase of content. This provides several challenges, but the most pertinent is that players are usually forced to purchase set amounts of these currencies. Companies take advantage of this by not offering purchases for prices equal to or even divisible by the quantities of premium currency available for sale. An egregious example of this is Gaijin Entertainment's 2012 game War Thunder, pre-May 1st, 2025. Before this date, the game offered a number of packs of the premium currency Golden Eagles, exclusively in intervals out of phase with the items available for purchase with the currency. This led users to be forced to either buy multiple packs or buy significantly more Eagles than required, which could then be insufficient to make further purchases. Research from lieutenants indicates that these practices cause negative feelings in players, which may lead to unhealthier habits with spending money on premium currencies. It is worth noting, though, that at the time of recording, War Thunder has added the option to purchase custom quantities of Golden Eagles. While no official statement has been made, this is likely to comply with new European legislation on the matter. Damning for loot box purchases specifically is new research finding links between loot box microtransaction purchases and developing an addiction or other unhealthy relationship to real-life gambling. For our purposes, a loot box microtransaction is any microtransaction which has had an element of random chance to the reward. A study by Zendel demonstrates that the correlation between problem gamblers and loot box buyers is significantly higher than that between problem gamblers and buyers of other microtransactions. While less data exists on loot box buyers using in-game currency, less harm may be done when players earn the ability to play games of chance rather than playing with real money. Bungie's Destiny 2, for example, is a game where loot box-like items can be obtained, however unable to be bought externally. On the other hand, a game like Valve's Counter-Strike 2 gives players the ability to use real currencies in the process, and even then sell the results for more real money. This is a clear step towards a more realistic gambling scenario, and as such applies more to Zendel's conclusions of a link between real and virtual gambling habits. One counterpoint to the claim that microtransactions can be damaging is that neither the Entertainment Software Rating Board, the ESRB, nor the Pan-European Game Information Organization, or PEGI, consider loot boxes in games as simulated gambling, nor even gambling. This may seem to indicate that these agencies consider loot box microtransactions as not harmful enough to warrant such a response, casting doubt on the claim. Unfortunately, both PEGI and the ESRB are historically extremely misaligned on what even constitutes a random reward transaction, with 60.6% of games classified as containing such by one agency not being similarly classified by the other. According to Zhao, this casts doubt on the efficacy and datedness of the agency's respective guidelines. An example of possibly misaligned guidelines is GTA 5. Both PEGI and the ESRB correctly flag the game as containing microtransactions, but the ESRB misses flagging it as allowing gambling using real money, which it does have a label for. This is clearly a very high-profile false negative, as GTA 5 does contain gambling elements that can be accessed using bought funds. This would seem to suggest that blind faith in these agencies' guidelines is not entirely deserved in this regard. Given the evidence presented, it becomes clear then that the presence of microtransactions in games can cause an unhealthy relationship between a player and spending money on said games, primarily due to the aforementioned points of them bypassing consumer rights, being statistically linked to real-life problem gambling, and engaging in predatory behavior such as generating leftover currency.